So Joe Rogan just had a neuroscientist on the podcast. And what this guy said about AI and your brain, it honestly made me put my phone down for a second. Dr. Tommy Wood, this is a guy with degrees from Cambridge and Oxford, runs a brain research lab at the University of Washington, and literally works with Formula One drivers to optimize their cognitive performance. So when he says AI is changing your brain, you might want to pay attention. I don't think it's as simple as AI bad, brain broken. So let me show you the key moments from this conversation, and I'll give you my honest take on what this actually means for people like you and me who use these tools every single day. So the conversation kicks off with Rogan bringing up something a lot of us have been quietly thinking about. You know how you used to just figure things out? Like you'd sit there and struggle with a problem, maybe Google a few things, piece it together yourself. Now most people just throw it into chatgpt and get the answer in 5 seconds. And Rogan basically asks, what is that doing to us? Here's what Tommy Wood said.
I really wonder about people today, and this is one of the reasons why I was so interested in this, because what we were just talking about before, that people are being oversaturated with nonsense but not stimulated in any way that challenges your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a constant state today. And then on top of that, you've got a lot of people that are using AI throughout their day to solve all their problems where they don't think at all.
Yeah.
And there's been some studies on that show that it's a decrease in cognitive function. Like when they ask them to actually use their brain, the brain works less well than it did before they started.
Okay, so let me break that down. What he's basically saying is that your brain is like a muscle. And if you stop making it work, if you outsource all the hard thinking to an AI, it gets weaker. That's not just an opinion, that's neuroscience. And here's where I land on this. I think he's right, but I also think there's nuance here that matters. Because I use AI. A lot of people use AI. And I don't think using it automatically makes you dumber. The question is how you're using it. Think about it like a calculator. When calculators came out, people said the same thing. Kids won't learn math anymore, everyone's going to get dumber. And yeah, most people can't do long division in their heads anymore. But we also went to the moon. We built the internet. The tool didn't make us dumber. It shifted what we needed to be smart about. But here's where it gets tricky with AI, and this is the part that actually got me thinking. So then they get into this MIT study about chatgpt. And this is where it gets really interesting. Because it's not just theory anymore. They actually tested what happens when students use AI to write essays versus doing it themselves. And the results? Kind of uncomfortable. Check this out. So
You're not getting educated by ChatGPT.
No.
Or any of these. What you're doing is you're letting it think for you.
Absolutely. So this one, maybe one of the studies you're thinking of was a study they did at MIT. And they had students write essays. And they could either just write it using whatever they had in their head already, or using Google, or using an LLM. And what they showed was that as you increase the amount of outside support you got, Google, and then I think it was ChatGPT, then there was less activity in the brain networks associated with actually doing the task, and students remembered less well afterwards. So, I mean, this isn't surprising.
that study essentially showed that when people use AI to do the thinking for them, not as a tool but as a replacement, their own ability to do that work actually gets worse over time. Your brain literally loses the pathways it doesn't use. Use it or lose it isn't just a saying, it's biology. Now, here's my middle ground take on this. I don't think the answer is to stop using AI. That ship has sailed. Everyone's using it, and honestly, it can be incredible for productivity. But I think Tommy Wood nailed the distinction. There's a difference between using AI as a finishing tool versus using it as a thinking tool. Like, if you struggle with a problem, work through your own ideas first, and then use AI to polish it or check your work. That's fine. Your brain still did the heavy lifting. But if your first instinct every single time is to just dump your problem into ChatGPT and copy-paste whatever comes out, that's where the damage happens. You're basically telling your brain, hey, I don't need you for this anymore. And your brain listens. But then Rogan and Wood get into something even bigger than just AI. And this is the moment that honestly hit me the hardest. Because it's not just about ChatGPT. It's about our entire relationship with screens, content, scrolling, all of it. Wood drops this phrase that I haven't been able to stop thinking about.
That's like the core thesis of my book, right? It's called The Stimulated Mind. Overstimulated
But with
and
nonsense.
Exactly. So we're overstimulated and understimulated at the same time.
Right. We're getting a lot of input, but we're not doing any calculation. We're not problem solving.
So the function of any tissue in the body, right? You mentioned the muscles, the bones, the liver, the immune system. Their function is dependent on the stimulus you apply to them, right?
Right.
And so the brain is exactly the same. And if you want functions and networks in the brain to perform well, you need to challenge them in order to enhance capacity in them.
Do you think you need to keep your liver working healthy by drinking every now and then?
Overstimulated and understimulated at the same time. Let that sink in for a second. You're scrolling through your phone, watching shorts, reading tweets, jumping between apps. Your brain is getting bombarded with input. But none of it is actually challenging you. None of it requires you to think deeply, solve problems, or create something. You're consuming a fire hose of information, but your brain is basically in neutral the entire time. It's like eating a massive meal of junk food. Your stomach is full, but your body is starving for actual nutrition. That's what's happening to your brain right now. And I'll be honest, this one hit close to home, because I catch myself doing this. I'll sit down to work on something, and 20 minutes later I'm watching random clips, scrolling Reddit, jumping between tabs, and I feel busy, I feel stimulated, but I haven't actually done anything. My brain hasn't been challenged at all. Tommy Wood's argument is that this combination, too much passive input, not enough active cognitive challenge, is one of the biggest risk factors for cognitive decline. And the scary part? He says 45 to 70% of dementia cases are preventable. Preventable. That means the choices we make every day with our brains actually matter way more than most people realize. Okay, so at this point you might be thinking, great, so I'm frying my brain. What do I actually do about it? And this is where Wood's framework is actually really practical. He calls it the 3S model: stimulation, sleep, and supply. Stimulation means you need to genuinely challenge your brain regularly, and I don't mean brain training apps or Wordle. He's talking about learning a new skill, something where you actually struggle and fail. Learning a language, picking up an instrument, even complex physical activities like dance or martial arts. He actually said dance has some of the highest evidence for reducing Alzheimer's risk because it combines physical movement, rhythm, social connection, and real-time problem solving all at once. Sleep is obvious, but people still don't take it seriously enough. Your brain literally cleans out waste products while you sleep. Skip that, and you're basically letting garbage pile up in your most important organ. And supply means giving your brain the nutrients it needs. He actually takes 10 grams of creatine a day. Not for muscles, for his brain. Said the evidence for cognitive benefits is strong across depression, sleep deprivation, recovery, and even brain injury. So here's my final take on this whole thing. AI is a tool. Like any tool, it can build you up or make you lazy. The neuroscience is clear that your brain needs struggle, challenge, and real cognitive effort to stay sharp. So use AI, but make sure you're still doing the hard thinking yourself. Put your phone down sometimes and do something that's actually difficult. Your future brain will thank you. Now I want to hear from you. Has I changed how you think? Do you feel like you're relying on it too much, or do you think this whole thing is overblown? Drop your take in the comments. And if this episode made you think, that like button is right there. I break down the most interesting JRE conversations every week, so if that's your thing, you know what to do.